The first question is absolutely the worst and the hardest, but we need to get through it. We need to power through it. Who are you and what have you written?
My name is Susan Petrone. I am a Cleveland-based writer, and my latest novel is The Heebie-Jeebie Girl, which comes out at the beginning of June, and it is set in 1977 Youngstown. I kind of describe it as Crime and Punishment set in 1977 Youngstown, only with jokes and magic.
Why did you want to write about Youngstown? And I know it's always a cliche to talk about the location as a character, but
Yeah.
Youngstown is important to the story. This story isn't the same if it's placed in another Rust Belt city. So why did you want to write about Youngstown?
The Heebie-Jeebie Girl is set in Youngstown. My whole family came from Youngstown. My mom and dad both grew up there. Actually, one of my brothers and I were the only ones in my large family who weren't born in Youngstown. Spent a lot of time there growing up. And actually, the germ of the story is actually based on some real family history. So it was a story that always fascinated me, and I always wanted to tell it. So when I started writing it, I couldn't not set it in Youngstown. And actually, the city of Youngstown, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the city of Youngstown is actually one of the narrative voices telling the story.
What do people get wrong about Youngstown?
I know a lot of people have this idea that Rust Belt cities are places to leave. And sometimes you have to. Heebie-Jeebie Girl is set around the time of the closure of the Youngstown Sheet Tube, which really just, threw 5,000 people out of work overnight. Imagine the Lordstown GM plant closing last year in 2019 and multiply it by 5. Sometimes people have to leave, and sometimes they stay because they want to. And Youngstown is the kind of place that kind of gets into your blood and doesn't let you go. She holds on to you. And yeah, I think Youngstown is a she. If Youngstown were a person, she would be like the kind of crazy old lady sitting next to you at the bar, caging cigarettes and free drinks off of people all night and telling you good stories. So I think what people get wrong about Youngstown is that there is a beauty in Rust, and there is something really beautiful in these tight little neighborhoods. And Smoky Hollow, where much of the story takes place, is one such neighborhood. It's not there anymore. The Youngstown State University kind of took it over. But the people who lived there remember it very fondly. There are Facebook groups and stuff devoted to Smoky Hollow. Youngstown is one of those cities that people still love, even when they have to leave. They still love it, and it still holds on to them. And I think that's what people get wrong, is that it's not a place to run away from. It stays with you.
You've mentioned that your favorite authors are Jane Austen and Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
What is there any Austen or Vonnegut in Heebie-Jeebie Girl?
Wow, that's a good question. Is there Austen or Vonnegut in Heebie-Jeebie? I would say maybe some of the city of Youngstown, as I said, is one of the narrative voices, and she kind of interjects throughout the book. I hope that's not a spoiler to say. And I think that maybe her crotchetiness and some of her kind of snarkiness might be reminiscent of a little bit of some of Vonnegut's narratives, where he get something like Breakfast of Champions that's very meta fictional, where it's not, well, he rarely did normal narratives anyways. Not that I'm comparing myself to him, because he's God. And I think maybe the homage to Austen might be more just, it's a story of very simple, normal, working class people. And Austen wrote stories about, some couple of families in a small English town, and people whose lives might not be very important to anyone else but them. And hopefully, by illuminating those lives, you find the importance, you find the commonalities of human life and of our existence, because we have more common experiences than not, I think, as human beings. And just trying to, whether it's a struggle for money or a struggle for love or a struggle for, to be heard. We all share that. So I think that, a working class family in Youngstown, 1970s Youngstown, some of the characters are struggling with some of the same things that, a early 19th century family in England might have struggled with too.
Now, you have had some fascinating jobs over the years. Like, I feel like you've had a lot of cool jobs. Like, you've done the beer hawking, you worked at a library.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite job that you've ever had?
Man, that's like one of the, I counted once, and like in high school, I had like maybe 2 or 3 different jobs at the same time. So I had like, 40 jobs in my life, which is kind of crazy. Yes, I did spend one summer hawking beer at the old Cleveland Stadium, which was hard, but I was like 19, so you're like, my back doesn't hurt. And I did it because I needed, money for college, and then I could see baseball games for free.
2 good reasons. 2 very good reasons.
2 very good reasons. I've been fortunate to have a lot of really cool jobs. I think maybe my favorite was working for the Society for American Baseball Research. I was the communications manager. The headquarters used to be based in Cleveland. And I like nonprofits. Much of my work experience has been in nonprofits, doing communication, nonprofits for higher ed. So doing that for a member organization that was based on baseball research and baseball history was just like, oh, this is cool. And also I had a press pass for the press box for at Progressive Field. That was really awesome. Yes. When I even got yelled at by Bob Feller in the press box. So that was kind of like the initiation. So once you're there, once you've been yelled at by Bob Feller, you belong.
Now, I promised you 15 minutes. I think I've already taken 30, so I'm going to hit you with the lightning round. Are you ready?
Okay.
Where did you come up with the idea of getting superpowers when you reach menopause?
One night when I couldn't sleep and it was really, really hot and it was the middle of the night, and I'm like, wow, I wonder if this is like a hot flash, man. And then I thought, wow, it would be really cool to be able to channel this. And then I just kind of started thinking about what other things could you do that if it were a superpower? I'm like, that'd be cool. I'd love to like be able to light things on fire. And then what other things could I do? And then, so by the end of the night, I at least had like the 3 characters and their powers. So I never did get to sleep that night, but came up with an idea.
That's a great idea. I mean, I feel like both that and the Throw Like a Girl are such rock solid pitches. It's a good pitch when you can do it in a sentence and you're like, yeah, I would read that.
Yeah.
Like,
and that one actually happened. That came from, I was out biking on Old River Road and it's like nobody around. A car cut me off at like Cedar and River. Like there's like, dude, it's like there's no reason to cut off the cyclist. There's really no other traffic. And for a minute there, I was so pissed off. Like I started pedaling, put it in the big ring and went as fast as I could, like thinking I'm going to catch you and give you a piece of my mind. And obviously I can't ride 60 miles an hour. I wish I could. And then I kept thinking, God, if I could only channel that energy, my anger, like into my bike, I'd be the first woman to win the Tour de France. And at the time I was playing in a like wood bat pickup baseball league on Sunday nights. I was like, wow, it'd be really cool if I could like channel that into my fastball. And then that, the book, well, didn't write itself, but there was the idea.
I feel like a lot of your story pitches come from like, okay, if I could take this and channel it, it could be productive.
Yeah, well, now that I have a couple of books out, it's kind of like people say, well, what do you write about? I guess it's women and girls who can do unusual things.
Not to be reductive, but writing about women in baseball, writing about women with superpowers, these are areas that have traditionally been men's.
Yeah.
And I think you have found ways to make them stories about women empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of things, but it's also very clever.
Thank you.
Very clever.
Thank you very much. And I'm hoping that Heebie-Jeebie Girl, well, you need to read it. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but Heebie-Jeebie Girl, the titular character does have some interesting skills. Let's say that.
Without spoiling anything.
Without spoiling anything.
Where can people get more info on you, and where can they buy the book?
Okay. If you are interested in purchasing the Heebie-Jeebie Girl, available at your local independent bookstore. More information about me or my work, susanpetrone.com, SusanPetrone.com.